Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, thank you so much. I'm so glad you stopped by. Today I wanted to talk to you about something that I see a lot of us kind of go through, and that's are you in a coloring slump? Have you just kind of hit the skids and the wheels came flying off your coloring mojo? So if this is you, stick around because I've got 5 ways to identify that you might be in a coloring slump, and then I've got 10 suggestions that might help you get out of it. So meet me on the other side and we'll get started. So tell me, are you in a coloring slump? Sit down on my coloring therapy couch and let's talk about it. So, as crafters, I think if you color, you likely have other crafts. And I've seen people, I know that a lot of my friends, like I'm also a knitter, a gardener, a baker, and a lot of my other friends are also the same way. They have other crafts. It's just the nature of our crafting lives, right? We just can't commit to one. But we move in and out of these crafts as time goes on because we hit slumps. I've hit major knitting slumps before. Gardening during COVID, I had a very high maintenance garden and I got kind of burned out on that. Please don't look at my garden right now. Baking, I used to bake these very beautiful decorated sugar cookies, especially at Christmas time. And you bake so many of them and then you just kind of hit your slump. So are you in a coloring slump? So first of all, as your coloring therapist, you need to know this is normal and everybody hits this. So let's get into it. And by the way, this page was just to get your attention. This is not part of a coloring slump. I hope you enjoy it, and I should be done with that eventually. We're not going to put a time constraint on it because we don't have coloring goals. Okay, so the first indicator, I'm going to try to talk about 5 of them that you might be in a coloring slump, is a loss of inspiration. So, maybe you started this page like I did, and I couldn't even finish this entire little section up here. I just I just lost interest for whatever reason. And this is a very beautiful book, by the way, Colors of Treasures by Nicolette de la Fray. And her illustrations are really beautiful if you haven't seen her art before. And boy, she colors them just in such a gorgeous way. So check out her stuff if you have a chance. But, excuse me, guys. So for whatever reason, I just kind of lost my vibe on this page. I lost my vision. I just sort of, I don't know, I just lost it. So losing that inspiration sometimes is one indicator that you might be in a coloring slump. All right, so the second indicator is that let's see, goodness. All right, you can see here, I've got a decline. Okay, I'm going to word this carefully. So I don't want to say there's a decline in the quality of your pages, but there's a decline in your perceived quality of your pages because it's all about what we think about how we color. It doesn't matter what other people think, but if I think, gosh, I'm just not coloring up to my normal, what I would consider par for me, or my normal range of what I would normally complete with my pages. If you feel like that's declining, that might be another indicator that you are in a coloring slump. So this page is, gosh, probably from like 2 years ago, and I started it. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, you guys. And you can see I just never finished it because I got kind of disgusted with the striping. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Okay, so I might finish this someday because I really like how the orange came out. I like that. I like orange with blues. So again, maybe your perceived quality is declining. All right, number 3. Do you have more works in progress than usual? So, it's normal for us to have what we call our whips, and we normally have a lot of them, and that's totally normal, totally fine. But maybe lately you've had what I call startitis, and you start a page and you just don't finish it, but there's always the excitement to start that next page, and you start it and then you start coloring, and then all of a sudden you hit a wall with that page, so you shove it to the side, and then you start another page because you're excited about that page. Now this page is going to be great, and then the same thing happens. So what's happening is you're leaving a trail of these or a wake of these behind you, more than usual, not just the normal amount, like way more than usual, like you just can't finish a page, you just can't, you just don't have the motivation or inspiration to do it. So that is a fourth indicator. It's the third or fourth, I think that's the third, sorry, I'm losing count, indicator that you might be in a coloring slump. Okay, the number 4 reason you might be in a coloring slump is lack of motivation. So for me, I am doing all of my coloring, probably the lion's share of it, early in the morning hours. So I get up very early in the morning, as you all know, and that's my time to color. It's my time to try to catch up on YouTube comments, my time to catch up on or maintenance my Snickerdoodling Facebook and Instagram accounts, but that's my coloring time. My daytime is for my day job, and my evenings are for Mr. George and myself to spend time together. So that's kind of how my day is parsed up. So if I'm taking my mornings and I'm doing what I call, and I think people call doom scrolling, just through like Pinterest or just through, you know, whatever, Facebook, Instagram, and I look down and I've, you know, killed an hour doing this, that's a huge lack of motivation. So I once heard somebody say we are always motivated in either a positive or a negative direction, but it's still motivation. So if you think about a diet or getting up to work out, do I want to work out? That's like a positive, I'm motivated to work out or I'm motivated to sit on the couch. There's a motivation there. What is it and where is it? So if I'm doing this, then I'm probably not motivated to color because I'm more intentional about spending my time doing this. So think about that. Are you kind of motivated to not color? Have you lost that motivation? Okay, the last 5th indicator that I'll mention is you're sort of avoiding your coloring supplies. And, you know, your coloring supplies, they love you, and all they want is to spend time with you and to feel valued. So I say this because I know, like, when I hit a knitting slump, I do anything to avoid my knitting needles, my little knitting corner of stuff. I just kind of walk by it and don't look at it. And I think that's because of the guilt that I feel because of, you know, lots of reasons. You know, we spend a lot of money on our coloring supplies, and now if they're just sitting there collecting dust, don't you have a little bit of guilt about that maybe? And, you know, that's, I don't know. So there's that component. I know when I started coloring, I was just coming off of a huge run of years of dedicated knitting, and I just purchased, I took some birthday money and I purchased some Chaigu knitting needles, which are not cheap. And right after that, I started coloring again and found my love here and sort of pushed those knitting needles to the side and haven't visited them quite as much as I normally would have if I was still in my knitting heyday. So maybe there's a little bit of that, hey, I'm just going to kind of set you over here. We usually have a huge joy with the coloring supplies that we purchase, but if you're just kind of avoiding them, that might be your 5th indicator. Okay, so I've got 10 ideas that can help you get out of this coloring slump. So I will be right back and we'll get started talking about those. Suggestion number 1, try a new medium. If you are a colored pencil enthusiast, or you love your alcohol markers, or you love your gel pens, try switching to something else. You don't even have to finish the page. You can find a doodle page, but try to switch to something else. So I love my colored pencils. I started out with alcohol markers when I got back into coloring, and then just found my love of everything colored pencil related. I got some Tan Mitt gel pens, and they come in this little case. And this is what I do when I kind of get burned out on colored pencils or just whatever I'm coloring. I will get out my gel pen and I will just come over here and I'll start doodling. There's something for me, because I don't normally use gel pens, and you got to have the glittery kind, but there's something very therapeutic in just watching that glittery ink fill in these spaces. So if you want the easiest thing you could do, and that is if you have the supplies, please don't go out and buy more supplies to do this, but if you have the supplies, try switching to something different from what you normally would color with, and then that might kind of take you away from or help you out with that coloring slump. See, the thing is that if you really love your coloring, how does the saying go? If you really love something, let it go and it will come back to you, right? So same thing. So if you love those colored pencils, try a gel pen, try an alcohol marker, try watercolors, try some watercolor pencils. Just try something different and see if that doesn't help. The second thing that might help is trying something different as far as not your medium, but the style of book that you normally color in. So we love, boy, don't we love our Johanna and Hannah books and our Kirby books, and we are fiercely passionate about coloring in those. But if you've hit a knitting slump, oh my gosh, I keep saying knitting slump. If you've hit a coloring slump, branch out and try something different. So I always talk about my mandala books, so shameless plug here, but you can try coloring a mandala. It's something completely different. You might hate it still, totally fine. I promise you won't hurt my feelings, but you could, it just kind of gets you out of coloring in your normal books you normally color in. Try an Erie book. This one is from that book. I don't know the name of it. I did find it on Amazon, but this is something way out of my normal zone of what I usually color. And I've really enjoyed this and had a lot of fun coloring this. So you could do something like this, just coloring in a different book genre, coloring from a different illustrator than you normally color with. That too. You could try coloring in like a Christine Kieran book. Again, something totally different from Johanna, that sounds funny. Hannah, Johanna, Kirby, and I just keep citing those three because I think those are probably the three most popular illustrators out there that I've seen. I don't have any stats to go on for that though. But again, just doing something completely different out of your norm. Or an R.J. Hampson book. I've seen so many cool pages from his books from people out there, especially if y'all follow Jackie with Spare Room Studio. Her R.J. Hampson pages, also Joe, who's 120 Colors on Instagram. Their R.J. Hampson pages are just amazing and to die for. So his books are very unique and lots of fun and just quirky enough that I really love them, but don't show them enough love. So, grab one of those books. Also, along the mandala theme, you can't go wrong with a Nicola Lehman book. So here is a page I just finished this morning, and I will be posting that later on my personal Instagram account. But yeah, her pages are amazing. And just I always say with mandala books, it's a great way to break out of your normal zone, do something different, and especially in the repetition of the pattern, there's a lot of, you get a lot of zen moments from that. I do, anyway. Not everybody does. So I know a lot of people get stressed out by patterns. So don't do it if you're going to stress out over it. So that's another thing. Try a different coloring book or a different style of coloring book than you normally would do. That's tip number 2. All right, my third tip for how to pull yourself out of a coloring slump. We talked about lack of inspiration. So where can you find inspiration? So here I am back on Pinterest. I have a folder on my personal account that I call Coloring Book Art. And that bug page that you saw me show at the very beginning of the video, I went out and searched for ideas to see how other people colored those pages to sort of kind of inspire me along to see how I wanted to color that. But you can see as I scroll through here, I've pinned a lot of different kinds of pages. Like here, I love, oh my gosh, that background's amazing. So Pinterest is a great source to get inspired. You can also search hashtags on Instagram. So like if you're coloring in the Hannah Carlson book seasons, you can search on the hashtag Hannah Carlson seasons or seasons coloring book and just scroll through and find all kinds of inspiration to see how other people colored those same pages before you. Not to copy them, but to be inspired by them and maybe nudge you in a creative direction that you hadn't thought of before. So that is tip number 3. So we're back to this page again. Why am I showing you this page again? So that is because of tip number 4, which is focusing on the process, not the product. So, you know, I've shared so many times across my other videos about in the knitting world, you have process knitters and product knitters. So process knitters are people that like to knit for the sake of knitting, and your product knitters are people that like to knit because they have a goal to accomplish. So in the coloring world, the same thing would apply. Am I a process colorist? I just enjoy putting color on paper, or is it all about finishing the page? So if you are usually all about finishing the page, I want you to take a page and not finish it. And I want you to just focus on putting color on the page. If you finish it, great, but I don't want that to be the goal. I want the goal of that page to be just enjoying the process, just enjoying, you know, the ink going down on the paper in the little shape. I don't want you to beat yourself up if you go out of the lines like I am here, but just kind of switching your goal a little bit, or your end game, to be process and not product. So that is the 4th tip, and I will be right back with tip number 5. All right, tip number 5. So you've seen these a million times in my videos, but one thing that I like to do when I get bored is play with color combos. And when I say I play with color combos, I'm not talking about creating my own. You can go out on Pinterest, and here, I don't know how well this is showing up on the camera, but I've got like folders where I search for Caran Dash Luminance color combos, and I find color combos that other people have created before me. And if I like them enough, I might put them in my journal. So that helps you just kind of do something mindless, and then you've got something that you like for the future. But that's another way that you can kind of get out of your rut, is playing with color combos. You could even do some swatching. This is my swatch journal. Y'all have seen this a million times. Or you can go out online. I believe this is from Color with Claire, and play with swatch charts. And just, there's something very mindless and methodical about filling in a swatch chart that's just also kind of soothing at the same time. And it gets you out of that pressure and stress, which I think does drive a lot of the our coloring slumps sometimes without us realizing it. So I think if you do something like this, that's another way to still enjoy coloring without, you know, putting yourself in a box on what you feel like you have to color, or a timeline for getting something completed. But, you know, so I always highly recommend these books. Okay, I'll be back with tip number 6. For tip number 6, I don't really have a coloring page to show because it's all about thinking about maybe reorganizing your coloring space. You've colored in the same spot. You've got your supplies in the same places. My office lately has become kind of like, it looks like a volcano of coloring supplies exploded in here. But sometimes if you reorganize your supplies, I'm not saying tidy up, I'm just saying maybe reorganize, maybe rearrange your working space, it might kind of reinvigorate you for coloring. So kind of like, I know that growing up, you know, I'm in my bedroom. If I would like move the furniture around, I would feel like it was a more exciting space all of a sudden. So I think the same kind of holds true for our crafting working spaces. So if you were to find a way to, you know, maybe there are some supplies that are always just out of your reach and you've become annoyed with it, but you've never moved them, move them. You know, maybe don't do something super drastic, but whatever it takes to kind of re-energize your space to make it more enticing, more inviting, more soothing or relaxing. I encourage you to think about that and maybe try that. And I'm not talking about, don't go crazy painting your walls, but if you do, tag me so I can see. I would love to paint my walls, but I kind of don't know what color I would even do it. So I'll probably I like my wall. You know what? Never mind. My walls don't matter. So, but anyway, you get what I'm saying. So I think if you kind of mix things up a little bit in your working space, that might also help with your coloring slump. I'll be back with tip number 7. Tip number 7, learn something new. Go and try to find a tutorial. Good grief, it doesn't have to be one of mine, but YouTube is just chock full of a million fantastic coloring tutorials. Even Pinterest, there's blogs out there, you name it, but try something new. Try to learn how to do a neocolor background. Try to learn how to put bubbles on your page. Do something that you don't normally do. Try to find a technique that you've always kind of been curious about, but just have never really been intentional about taking the time to learn it. And try to carve out time to sit down, study that technique, learn it. A lot of the times they're super easy. Sometimes they take more trial and error, but give yourself the blessing of knowledge and learning something new. And I think that will also help kind of get you excited again about coloring, because now you've got this new technique in your toolkit that you can pull out and apply to your pages that you like to color. So I encourage you to seek out that kind of information and try something new. I believe in you and I know you can do it. Okay, so for tip number 8, I don't have a coloring page to show you, so we're just going to look at this pretty swatch chart. So tip number 8 would be change your environment. And this is different from reorganizing your space or, reorganizing your craft supplies. I tend to be heads down in my office here, my little crafting space sometimes. And sometimes it just feels suffocating. So every now and then I will just get up. I've got this little mini coloring desk, or it's like a little mini desk that you can use on a couch. And I'll go sit on the couch and turn on a TV show or something, and I will color in the living room. Change your environment. Do something to get out of your normal geography of where you like to color, because that will contribute to your rut or your slump. So if you're always doing the same thing, you're coloring the same books, you're coloring with the same supplies, you're coloring with the same color combos, just change something. So if you even just do something as tiny as changing the location of where you color, I bet that might change it up for you. If it's a beautiful day where you're living, you're part of the world, go outside, sit on your patio, take a cup of something refreshing, whatever the beverage of your choice is, and your coloring supplies, and just go enjoy the outdoors with your coloring supplies and your coloring. Here it's too hot to do that, so I would prefer probably a view of outside from my kitchen maybe, but you get the idea. So if you just change your location, maybe that too would help get you out of your rut. All right, for tip number 9, I have to start out with, guys, look at this page, these pages. Why do we do this to ourselves? So these are highly detailed, intricate designs. And this is from Secret Garden. Nothing against J. Bass. I love her work. However, I will say that I bought this book. I jumped on the 10th anniversary bandwagon, and I've never colored a page because look at how complicated this is. If you are somebody that loves pages like this and you thrive on pages like this, but you've hit a coloring slump, I challenge you and encourage you to just take a break and simplify. Color something that is a little more, it's got bigger spaces, it's easier to color. If you are somebody like me that just your playground is the world of 4, 5, 6 color combos, try to straight color, no color combos. I know it's, let's see, I know it's August, but it's never too early for Christmas. Here's a cute little Christmas gnomes book I have. And color a page like this. It's just easy peasy. It's just, straightforward, not a ton of detail. I say that as I see some detail, but something just real straightforward. But I think if you simplify, it kind of gets you out of that rut, because sometimes we feel pressure with those very detailed pages. So just try to change things up a little bit. So find a page that's a little simpler than what you would normally color. Seek out color combos, or the lack of color combos as you color. Hang on. Again, going back to like one of these mandalas, so this is more complicated, but just kind of, doing something simple and sort of zen with fewer colors. Now I know I've got color combos in here, but you could color something like this without any color combos and be perfectly happy. And it would get you out of that rut of the very complicated. I mean, look. So, and you know, I love these pages. I think they're absolutely gorgeous, but these details are so tiny because I feel like if there's a line there, I need to honor the line and color like 2 different colors in this space. So you get what I'm saying. All right, I will be back with my final tip. For my final tip, I think it's only fair that since I opened the video with this page, I close with this page. This is from Johanna's World of Flowers, which I think is my favorite book she's ever done. If you are truly that deep into a coloring rut or a coloring slump, and you've heard all of my tips and you think they're number 1, obvious, number 2, uninteresting, number 3, you'll never try them, totally cool. I'm down with that, and it's okay. So I want you to know, and this is tip number 10, it's okay to walk away. And just put your coloring supplies away, store it for a little while, just walk away, go do something else. I think that we feel so much guilt because all these supplies we have are such, over time, it's a heavy investment. And I think we start to feel the guilt over the cost that we shelled out to get all these supplies. And, you know, well, I bought all these things. I need to color with them. I need to color in these books. I need to use these pencils. Put them away. Just walk away. And it's like I said in one of the earlier tips, if you truly love it, you will come back to it and it will find its way into your heart and you will have that desire again to open up that coloring book, get out those pencils or markers, and you'll start to color again and it will be enjoyable again. I have gone through this with so many different crafts. It always comes back. It's like the circle of our crafting life, right? So if you love it, you will come back to it. But I want you to know it is totally okay to take a break. You don't have to make a grandiose announcement on Instagram. Hey, everybody, I'm taking it. Just take your break. Your followers will always be there for you. They are loyal to you. They love you. They will be there when you come back. So it's okay to just walk away, go find that peace in your life, go find something new, try ceramics, try cooking, do something different, and I promise you will come back to it if it's truly something you absolutely love. So with that today, I thank you for, I mean, if you made it this far into the video, thank you so very much for watching. If you did like this video, please give it a like, or you can always subscribe to the channel. That helps me out and it helps more viewers find my content. So thank you so much. I hope you all have a very wonderful day and I'll see you next time.